What is going on, guys? I am Jada Black. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about these comments from Will Smith, man. Apparently, he feels that one of his biggest regrets is the fact that he had to divorce his first wife, Cherie. Now, him and Cherie, she went by Fletcher because she got remarried. Now she's back to Zampino. They were married for a couple years. His first son is by her, Trey. And then when that relationship didn't work out, he ended up getting with Jada Pinkett. Okay. What's very interesting about these comments is that they were doing this on Jada's Red Table Talk show. Okay. And of course, they had to hammer away at the point that Will just wasn't good enough as a husband. You know, how many times are they going to do that? But anyway. They decided to do that in this particular show, right? He's not a good enough husband and he needs to do better. You know, he has all these regrets, even though he has to sit and listen to his now wife talk about how much she still loves somebody else, you know? But he's on this, I believe it's a preview clip from the Red Table Talk show. It was like I guess a Father's Day edition. And he's discussing this regret that he has about divorcing his first wife. I truly think that he has this regret because he fit more with her. I think that they may have been more aligned with their perspectives, backgrounds, and they may have been more compatible with each other, you know? And him and Jada were kind of like the polar opposites when they met. You know, Jada was a little bit different back then. She's mellowed out now. But she was a little different back in the day, man. That's why, you know, yeah, she really loved Tupac, you know. Now he's talking about this failure. Okay, he mentions it as one of the biggest failures of his life, right? One of the biggest failures of his life is the fact that he wasn't able to make that particular relationship work. And they're talking about this on, I believe, a Father's Day edition. So you would think that in this particular episode, they would be highlighting the great things he's done as a father, but they're making it more about the fact that he just didn't do enough as a husband of another woman, you know? And I think that's where we are as men. You know, everything that we do is put under a microscope, you know? Everybody wants to highlight our failures in relationships and marriages, but they don't want to highlight the failures of the women that we're with because, of course, they cannot be blamed. You know, y'all got to remember, Jada was a lot different back in the day. Okay. You know, she was. So how do we know that she wasn't messing up as a wife? Are we just supposed to just believe that it was all Will? She was in, you know, well, she still is in entertainment in Hollywood. There have been rumors about her when she did her TV show, less than 4, 5, 6 years ago, when she had that television show, I believe, on TNT. It was TNT or TBS. And they were saying that she was getting with her co-star, Mark Anthony. Anybody go into detail about that? Nah, they're not going into detail about that. But we're going to go into detail about Will Smith. Now, in this Red Table Talk episode, they discuss, you know, his failures as a husband. Of course, again, we got to highlight the failures of the husband because the wives never fail, right? We never hear about the mistakes that Jada Pinkett Smith has made. Y'all got to understand, this is the same woman who allegedly was hooking up with August Alsina to the point to where he's making songs in reference to her, making it super obvious that something may have happened. But still, Will Smith has to highlight on Father's Day his mistakes as a husband. Father's Day is about highlighting the triumphs of you as a father. Why not have a show with all of his kids, his eldest son, then you got the 2 other ones that he has with Jada? Why don't you highlight that? Why do we have to highlight the failures of Will Smith as a husband? Because he wasn't just a husband, okay? You know, he's a father too. You know, he's somebody that is well liked. He's had a very, legendary movie career, and in TV. He's done some music too. This guy's basically a legend, man. And on a Father's Day episode, we're looking at why he still didn't measure up as a father. You know what's crazy was that I truly think that Will Smith, because he really wanted to be with Jada, I believe, and I think for so long tried to be the guy that she wanted him to be. And you get to a point to where you're still chasing the image of what you are supposed to be instead of what you are, So you have to look at that part of it as well. Also, Jada Pinkett and his ex didn't get along at first. Polar opposite, personalities. I still think that his ex may have been bitter about how things didn't work out. She ended up years later getting married. That relationship faltered. She ended up filing for divorce from that person. This guy was an ordained minister. So are we going to look at her and question whether she was able to uphold herself as a wife? We never want to point out the failures of the wife, but we constantly want to point out the failures of the husband. What does that solve? Let's do a Mother's Day episode of Red Table Talk and talk about the failures of motherhood. Now, or failures as a wife, not motherhood, but the failures as a wife. Now, let's see if Jada does a Red Table Talk Mother's Day show with her mother. She can, I guess, bring Willow on there, some other women as well. And they can talk about their failures as wives. You're not going to see that because that's not the reality they want out there. Because in reality, there are women who make a lot of mistakes in relationships. They make a lot of mistakes in marriages, but they're never held accountable for that. We as men are always going to be the ones that are supposed to be held accountable. We're supposed to not only make up for our mistakes, but we have to make up for their mistakes too. That just isn't right. It just isn't right. So what I gather from this is that you have people like Jada and other people who think that only men are failures in marriages. That is completely not the case. Failures happen on both sides. Either it's in the bedroom, either it's how you deal with things financially, maybe it's politically, religiously, parenting wise. Maybe you're differing on a lot of different levels. If you're not able to come together and do what is right for the both of you, then it's both of your faults. It's not one person's fault over the other, but that's all we are. And in fact that Will Smith is once again having to speak about his mistakes and why he's working to be a better man after all these years of being together with Jada, just shows you where we are in society and where they want men. They always want us in a constant chase situation. They want us to constantly be, searching and scraping and trying to find the answers to make women happy, to make them not want to divorce us. That's where we're at. Now, I do believe that Will and Jada's marriage is mostly an arrangement right now because it benefits both of them. Will Smith wants an intact family. Jada Pinkett wants some semblance of relevance. And if she leaves Will, it may change things, so it's an arrangement where both of them are good in that particular situation on both ends. That's why you're hearing rumors about her with August Alsina. You're hearing rumors about him dating other women, flirting with other women, because that situation now has become an arrangement because it's all about the perception. Jada Pinkett wants the perception to be that she's a good wife and a good mom, even though I know she has made mistakes. She even talked about how she was a bit of an addict when it came to having relations. So, so if you are addicted to having relations all the time, it ain't just Will you're having it with. Because a person who's recognizing that they have a problem, they trust and believe it ain't just Will do, because y'all understand Will, he might be on the road as far as filming in different locations. What Jada doing? What's she doing, man? Father's Day is supposed to be about uplifting fatherhood, men who have been good fathers and men who have built foundations for their children to grow in an environment where they can be their most productive. Father's Day isn't about tearing down the man saying that, oh, you were a bad father. First off, Father's Day has nothing to do with a marriage. It has everything to do with how you are with your kids. You could be separated from your wife or girlfriend if y'all have the same, if y'all have kids together. Whatever happened, that relationship is irrelevant to whether you're a good father or not. There are a lot of women, man, they have grown comfortable taking kids from a guy and trying to control the narrative of, if you don't treat me right, then you're not going to see your kids. Your relationships and marriages have nothing to do with them whatsoever. Nothing. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why a lot of men are hesitant about having kids these days or getting married. They don't want to get in a situation where they feel stuck. They feel like they're in a situation where they have to be. Even though we don't have to do anything, we have to be very conscientious of where we are in this society. And if you're continuously trying to make men grovel, if you're trying to make men constantly have to apologize and make up for what wrongs you believe that they have made, then obviously you're doing yourself and other people a disservice. Uplift him for what he has done, which is good. Don't sit to use Father's Day as a way to uplift yourself about how you're such a better spouse than he is, because in this situation, Jada Pinkett comes off as somebody who's trying to show that she's a better spouse than Will, because she's not a better, I wouldn't say actor, but she's not a better, well-known person in that particular relationship. So the one way she could get some get back is to basically point out all of his flaws while ignoring that she has those same flaws as well,